Welcome to the Masterpiece Effect, where we don't just chase success, we craft it. I'm Elnaj, self-leadership alchemist, Ironman finisher, and your guide on this unconventional journey to elite performance, legacy, and self-mastery. This is not your average personal development podcast. Here, we're questioning the narratives, dismantling limitations, and redefining what it means to lead yourself, your life, and your legacy. If you're ready to move beyond high achievement into intentional creation, you're in the right place. Let's begin crafting the ultimate masterpiece, you. Just last week, I was featured on a podcast as a guest, and I was asked about emotional resilience and emotional strength. And I think this is such an important distinction to make at this time, when we hear so much about emotional resiliency. Now, I don't know about you, but for the longest time, I was under the impression that emotional resilience was very much the same as emotional strength. You know, how strong can we be under hard and challenging circumstances? How can we hold strong in those times? But I've come to understand through experience that emotional resilience is about so much more. I was raised to be a strong and independent woman. I was raised with the understanding that I come from a line of strong and independent women. This was my lineage, and I was the next woman in it. The emotions that were invited into conversation was optimistic, positive, badass. And even in today's society, we see this playing out so much. We are constantly encouraged to just be happy. Just be happy and joyful. Always be up. And when we do go through the lower periods, we need therapy. We need help. We need to get out of it as quickly as possible. And so how we feel about what we're feeling has a compounding effect. And for the most part, we feel so bad for feeling bad that we get stuck in this loop of insanity, of just feeling worse and worse and worse. It's the compound effect of it. I remember many years ago when I was struggling with depression, feeling depressed, feeling negative, feeling hopeless, feeling suppressed. And I was doing the suppression, by the way. Nobody was suppressing me. I was suppressing my true self so that I could fit in, so that I could belong, so that life would be a little easier, less struggle with other people who didn't think like me, who didn't choose like me, who didn't live like me. And so, as I was struggling with this, and I couldn't talk to anybody about this because nobody seemed to understand, I didn't understand. From the outside, my life looked perfect. It was insane to me that I could be unhappy and caught in darkness. It was just crazy. But I eventually came to the point of considering very strongly to end my life. In fact, I was sitting with a bottle of pills, ready to end it all. And I heard my children. And I didn't want to be the reason my children grew up thinking that because of them, their mother took their life. I didn't want that to even be a possibility. So off I went to the doctor, and I got diagnosed with suicidal depression, and I got put on antidepressants, and I got sent to therapy. The antidepressants took off the edge of that feeling of hopelessness and sadness. But what I also realized is I could never really feel the opposite. I couldn't feel happy. I was just a little emotionally numb. The therapy didn't work for me either. I prayed and I was taken to kickboxing, and that was the way that I got out of my suicidal depression. But that's a story for another day. What I want to talk about is the emotional resilience. You see, my friend, what I've come to realize is that emotional resilience is our capacity for emotion. If we have great capacity for sorrow, we also have the opposite great capacity for joy. If we allow ourselves to have great capacity for disappointment, which, let's just face it, there are times in life when we are feeling a little disappointed. Things didn't quite work out the way that we had planned or wanted them to. But if we hold within ourselves the capacity for disappointment, we also hold within ourselves the capacity for delight, for celebration. So resilience, emotional resilience, is our capacity to hold all the emotions within our bodies, within our minds, within our experience. We have the capacity. And we need to figure out what is the gradient of our capacity, because if you think you're happy now, but you are unwilling to feel sad, you always feel like you have to bounce back, you can't give yourself permission to go into the uncomfortable emotions, well, then you are limiting the experience that you can be having. Emotional strength is only one of those emotions. And you can think of it in terms of a tree, a beautiful big oak tree that grows tall and magnificent. And as it gets older and its strength becomes a little bit more brittle in some of the branches, as the storm comes, the tree can blow over. But you take bamboo and you put it in that same wind, and it bends and flows with the wind. It is unlikely to break. That is resilience versus strength. So maybe it's time that we take strength off its pedestal, its mighty pedestal. Maybe it's time for us to take the judgment of our emotions out of it, so that we stop compounding the emotions. I mean, if you're happy and you're happy that you're happy, by all means compound that. But then you must be willing to compound the sadness as well, because otherwise you will become brittle again. Always think of it as far as what you are willing to go to the one side, that is the capacity that you have for the other side. So where are you not giving yourself permission to feel sad? I remember when I first started coming out of my sadness, my depression, through my kickboxing. I didn't just snap out of it, by the way. But what I decided to do was to give myself permission to have sad days. I would go and get a tub of ice cream and packets of chips and take out the notebook and watch it and cry and eat too much and just feel sad for the whole day. And it didn't even have to have a reason. It was just understanding that there was sad energy in my body that I wanted to move. And so the way that I moved it was through watching sad movies. When I'm angry, I give myself full permission to be extraordinarily angry, furious. And then I shift it through my body, through exercise. I go for a run, or I kickbox, or I do yoga, whatever it is, to flow it out of my body. Because I understand that the anger has a purpose. And what had started happening was the more I gave myself permission to have these days, to have these experiences, the less they became, because I no longer needed a full day of sadness. I could do 2 hours of sadness and just watch the movie. And the days became less and less that I needed them. But you know what? To this day, I give myself permission. To this day, I give myself permission to feel mad, to feel bad, to feel sad, to feel glad. I give myself permission to feel all the feelings. But where I am discerning is the actions that I take when I'm feeling certain emotions. So I'm not going to feel sad and go and work on my business. Because I would not be doing my business any favors. I'm not going to feel mad and go and write a post, because I'm not going to be doing you any favors. I choose to feel those emotions and honor those emotions and take the actions that is complementary to those emotions, that's honoring them, that actually puts them in the rightful space. And I allow them to move through my body. Don't get them stuck in my body. And when I am in a joyful place, when I'm in a space of deep appreciation, when I'm in a space of praise, when I'm in a space of belief and celebrating what is possible for us in this lifetime, that is when I do my work. Because that is the energy that is aligned with the purpose of my business, of my art, of my craft. Emotional resilience, my friend, is your capacity to hold it all. Your willingness to feel it all. But you have to give yourself permission to do so without judgment, without compounding it. Just let yourself have the experience. Because after all, this is what the human experience is all about. And emotions is such an intricate part of the experience. But we have to stop making our emotions wrong. They are part of your bodies. I really hope that this helps you to bring more compassion to yourself, to bring greater clarity to what's going on, so that you can start having the best human experience that it's available to you at this time, and enjoy increasing your emotional resilience one little bit at a time, just by giving yourself permission and grace. That's it for today's episode of The Masterpiece Effect. But your transformation doesn't stop here. If something resonated, challenged you, or sparked a new insight, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts. Connect with me at alnash.com. And if you found value in this conversation, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because life's too short for mediocrity. Let's create a masterpiece. See you next time.